Well, here we are. We're staying here at the Lovings Ranch, Farm, Hacienda. Of course, most of you know Kevin if you watch our videos. He's the Loving in the Loving Ranch. Anyway, this is the latest project. As you can see, there's her garden. It's amazing. And they have that greenhouse over there, and Kevin's wife, she's really into growing flowers, and it's always pretty around here. Their little gazebo. And then back over here is where they're planting the corn, and back there is where they're planting the watermelon, and here's where the chickens are at. Are they outside? Yep, there they are. They're back here in the trees a little bit. It's kind of fenced off right now because Kevin's building this new run. This is going to be for baby chicks over here. And then when they get to a certain size, then they can inundate with the big chickens. That's a rooster right there, isn't it? Is that a chicken? Might be a chicken. It's a rooster?
Yeah.
There's some chicks down there. As you can see our motorhomes over there underneath that big cover. This is all Kevin's place in here.
Well, it's coming along.
It is coming along, yeah. A lot to it though, as you can see the way he designs his stuff. He doesn't design it to last this season. He designs it to last
It's got to last
a lifetime.
It's last till my wife dies.
And she's going to live to be 100.
110. She's a Yankee. She'll live to be 110.
Yeah.
So, this was all a part of this kind of thing kind of came together. At first, we were just going to get this chicken house, and then we decided that we wanted to raise chickens, and so I decided to build another chicken house. And so we decided to go on and buy another chicken house, and then I'll build a run in between them. So when I get it done, it'll have a roof that matches these roofs, and it'll come over and turn and go into the other one. And it should be nice. It should look nice, and it should be an excellent place for chickens because we will have gates, and we can segregate them between the yard and then out here in the run. And then of course, when the gardens are done in the fall, late in the fall, we'll turn them out into the entire yard, and so they can finish off the gardens. They love eating the plants. Instead of pulling them up, you let the chickens eat them, and you get them back in the form of eggs. So it works out real good. On top of that, they fertilize the gardens for next year. So
I can guarantee if I was a chicken, I'd want to be a Kevin Loving chicken.
Well,
I mean, these guys have the style in place here, man.
That's because of Julie. She grows sprouts for them and everything else. She is really. But when it gets all done, it'll all be cleaned up and looking good, and we'll have the hay down in the right places, and we've got it predator proof. This one is completely predator proof. I've got to make that one predator proof, where I've got hardware cloth that goes down and under the ground, so that if a predator digs into that corner, they just hit hardware cloth. And then you can see the hardware cloth goes halfway up on the wire, and that pretty much snake proofs your chicken coop. And chicken snakes are a problem here in this part of the country. We haven't had any, but I've got this place fixed so they can't get in it. So I'll tell you, everything in the woods eats chicken, everything. So
including humans.
You got to fix it so something can't get in here. Coons and possums and everything in the world. If they don't eat chicken, they eat eggs. So you really have to fix a place up to have a chicken. But she's got the next set ordered, and they're Golden Comet, I think. And we're going to have two different breeds out here, but we're going to keep them separated. So,
you didn't get those chicken whisperer chickens?
No, it ain't the chicken whisperer chickens. That's Buff Orpingtons. And we decided on the Golden Comet. I think there was a bigger egg or something. That's what she decided we wanted. So we're pretty tickled with them, though. Julie makes a full-time job out of whatever. So when I get this thing finished, though, I'll be able to kick back and relax.
And that's Julie's greenhouse. They
yeah.
just got that a couple of weeks ago too. They had one about half that size.
Yeah, we had to upgrade.
And they didn't have all the automatic electric fans and all the things in it. So now this one's a fancy schmancy.
Oh yeah, it's real nice.
Had to take the fence out to get it in, but
yeah, now I got to put the fence back up. It's got some interesting features to it. This is called a Yoder-built greenhouse. They build these greenhouses up in northern Arkansas, and the guys become pretty famous, and people order them from all over. The driver was telling me that they drive them to Houston and Austin and all over the place, and they're considered one of the best greenhouses made. The old boy does a great job building these greenhouses, and we realized in the middle of the winter that the other greenhouse was not going to cut it because we could not keep it down to temperature in here during the really bad winter. That's a little apparatus. It's a cylinder like you find on the back of your car, but it's filled with beeswax, and when it gets to a certain temperature, that beeswax automatically opens up that window, and then we have a fan that kicks on. We had to run electricity to it, and I still have to run the sink. I have to put the sink in for Julie, but that comes after the chicken run. Anyway,
that'll be tomorrow. Huh?
Yeah, no, it won't be tomorrow. I work a little while and stop a little while, and work a little while and stop a little while, and persistence is better than talent, and you will.
Where's your tractor?
It's parked up yonder.
Usually he's within 10 feet of that tractor.
Absolutely.
He loves his tractor.
That tractor's a lifesaver for us here. It saved me a ton of work. In fact, I wish we'd have got the tractor that we got now. I wish we'd have got it straight on. There's so much lines buried into the ground. We have all kinds of electricity and water. Every one of those raised bed gardens right there has a water line run to it. Each individual raised bed has a water line. And Julie has a plant waterer on each one of them. And then we built these little hoops so that we could cover them with, and weather gets cold, we can throw plastic over them. In fact, we just had that happen. It got down to freezing and we had to put plastic over these things, over these little hoops. I'm gonna have hoops for all of them. That's what these pipes are sticking up. But that's the waterer, that's the watering system that's on every one of these raised beds, has its own water system. So it can be watered individually. Some plants like a lot and some plants like a little. And if we had to try to rig it up off of one hose bib, it would have been difficult. So I just went ahead and piped every one of them in and fixed up a drain system so they could be drained in the winter. And all this stuff was built to last a long time and have everything that you needed.
Darla's been having a great time coming out here and getting some fresh radishes and some fresh lettuce. And
we're just getting some stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Or just getting it ready to harvest. That's cabbage right there. I don't know very much about it. I guess it wraps up into a ball as it gets ready to harvest. But anyway, that's the radishes and the lettuce, and we got some good start on a bunch of tomatoes. And then here in Arkansas, you can plant 2 crops. In the middle of the summer, when you harvest, you can harvest, and then you can plant another crop. And you can get 2 crops out of a lot of stuff that'll grow into the cool weather. It doesn't even get below freezing here, usually till about the middle of November. And I've even seen it later than that. So you can get another complete crop out of this stuff. If you get it in early and get your first crop out about midsummer, then you can plant another crop. So.
Plus, you're working on your vacuum sealed 25-year food preservation.
Yeah, we bought a freeze
room.
dryer. I'm trying to get everything ready for it. Look at that, there's a strawberry. It looks like it's almost ready. You have to come out here and get that before Julie finds it. See that?
Oh yeah, I see it down there.
Yeah. Anyway,
a couple of them. Is that just 1 or 2? No, it's
that's
2.
2. So
There's another one over there.
Freeze dryer system, and that goes with the garden. We're able to take this fruit. Most everything in the garden can be freeze dried. Carrots, and onions, and all kinds of stuff. Strawberries, they can all be freeze dried. And when you freeze dry them, you get a shelf life of 25 years out of them without refrigeration. They go in Mylar bags, and you get to save them. We also can, but we're going to can stuff, and and freeze dried.
Oh, I got it.
There's Rufus.
I got it. This is the prettiest dog you'll ever see right here. Look at this beautiful boy. That's Rufus. That's Kevin's dog right there. Hey, Rufy, you want to be on TV? Huh? How are you, buddy? Huh? How are you? This dog is such a lover boy. He's so sweet. And then that's Reba. These are the same kind of dogs. He's the biggest, what do you call him?
Australian Shepherd.
But the biggest miniature Australian Shepherd, and she's the smallest.
Yeah.
Hi, Reba.
Reba.
Hi, baby.
How you doing?
What a sweet girl she is, too. They have some really sweet dogs. Cage plays with these guys once in a while, but you can't let him play right after it's rained, or I have to take a shower with him, get him clean.
Yeah, they get to be a mess. Of course, this yard last year didn't have any grass on it at all. And I had a pretty good grass growing, then I had to cut that hole right through the middle of it to run electricity to this greenhouse.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot to do here still, lots and lots and lots to do. But we are way further along than we were last year.
See, this is a modular home, and they had that brought in. Kevin built a special foundation for it. They got the house in, and then they needed a carport, so he had that built. And then this deck, which is a gigantic deck. There's so many things here. Of course, and then now that we're over here, you can see where we park, and Kevin built this especially for us. It's got a cover, and it's got water and sewer, electricity. So we got a really nice spot when we come here and visit, and we really like it, man, especially last night. Boy, it rained hard last night.
Yeah.
It's nice to be under that cover.
Yeah.
You know, all that noise isn't your roof. It's it's your roof, not my roof.
Yeah. Well, we try to do it right, and then I've got complete RV hookups on this side and partial on the other side, water and electric over there without sewer. It was just going to be too much trouble to put the sewer in over there, so we have the complete hookups on this side. But I wanted to set it up where I could park my RV under there and use it if I needed to use it. Friends come, have a place to park, and it's a work in progress, and we will probably be several more years getting it completed the way we want it. I'll probably get it completed and then just fall over dead. But anyhow, anyway,
you're not going to fall over dead.
I don't know. Some days I feel like I'm going to. These chickens have proved to be a lot more work than we had anticipated. Keeping these chickens inside of a pen, it's easier to cage a tiger than it is a chicken that wants to get out. But I finally got them, by gosh.
Well, you're getting there. You're almost done. So,
yeah. And
once you build this little maze, you're there, right?
Yeah. Well, then I predator-proof the other one, and then but that's once that's done, that's it on the chickens. Of course, I have to paint all that stuff that same red color. All that green wood has to be painted so that it'll match. But it's going to be really nice. I don't know of any place that I've been that is nice, and I wanted this to be a paradise for my wife, and it is for her. For her, she loves plants, loves the chickens, loves all of this stuff.
And Kevin can't wait to get in his RV and go.
Get out. But that's coming too. I'm taking myself a long vacation this summer. I'm going up to the White River for 6 weeks. Thank goodness. Anyway, I'm going to try to get this chicken pen finished before I go, which is it's making real progress. I just have to start building rafters here, but I can do that as soon as I get this last board in. I'm pretty close to starting to build rafters for it. Then I got to go down and bite the bullet and buy the tin. Tin has gone way up, like wood and everything else has gone way up in the last year. It's tremendously high. But I don't know what the tin is going to cost me, but it shouldn't be too terrible, no more than what I need. But we had tin put on our roof. This thing came with a shingle roof, the house did. We wanted a tin roof, so we've got tin roofs on everything except for this greenhouse. So
well, a tin roof would not be a good thing on a greenhouse.
Yeah. So
well, you know what, Kevin, we're going to let you get back to work, and this video is going to continue. When he gets this thing all framed all up, we'll come back out here and look at it. And I know Darla's going to do some videoing too. So stay tuned. We're still at it. Bought some watermelon for tonight's dessert. And look at the chickens. That's one thing about it. You don't need a garbage disposal or anything, because anything you don't eat, the chickens will. And they, like Kevin says, they take watermelon and turn them into eggs.
That tastes like watermelon?
Yeah, they taste like watermelon eggs. Are you Weisenheimer? Yeah, all right. So there he is. Kevin's most at home when he's on this tractor. He's got every attachment for this thing, I think, known to man. And good morning, sir.
Well, that's a heck of a way to greet somebody in the morning on camera.
Well, I just wanted them to catch you in your natural state. You ought to see him getting this in the house so he can sit next to it all night.
Yeah.
This is baby. Huh?
Listen, this thing has saved me a lot of work.
This is old John here.
Yeah, saved me a lot of work.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Actually, I think it's created a lot of work for you
Well,
because you
I
have
don't
it.
know, I mean, we would have had to dig it anyway, and I have used this thing. I have a backhoe attachment for this tractor, and I have used it to dig holes all over this property. We got water lines and electric lines and all kinds of stuff. You see those hose bibs over there in the corner, way back here? All of those are because of this tractor. I could dig all of this out. I have electrical and water run all the way to the back of my property.
And you have electric and water in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And all this, we talked about it yesterday, it's all waterized.
Yep. Water and electric, and Lord, it makes a world of difference to not have to run 3,000 feet of hose to get somewhere. And so all of this is because I had a backhoe on this tractor. If I'd have rented a tractor to do all this, it would have taken me forever.
You'd own the tractor rental place.
Yeah, I rented a ditch witch from them years ago, or not, well, now it's been 2 years ago, and did my initial before I got this tractor. But it's the way to go. If you've got a lot of work to do, go on and buy you a tractor. And on top of that, since you was a year old kid playing with tractors in the dirt, there's a lot of fun in it.
Well, and you still have a lot to develop here, so I mean, you're gonna clean this all up and make it so there's a nice turnaround here to come in, and you can see all the gravel over there. That right there is just a signal that you got a lot more graveling to do. So, and he does everything, spreads it with that, does the whole thing. So,
yeah, I put gravel down. All this gravel that's up here in the front in the driveway, I put it down, loads and loads and loads of it. I have many loads of gravel that I've spread out on this property because I got tired of walking in the mud. And this will all be gravel. This will all be gravel in here where this grass is right here.
now you're going to trim this out like you're going to do up there, or
no? It's just
leave
I'm
it
spreading
just
the
like
gravel.
this.
Yeah, it'll be like that. And the chickens will be able to get out. Now the gardens, of course, won't be gravel, but the chickens will be able to get out and go into the gardens. But I'm a big fan of gravel. This place. This is Arkansas. In the spring it rains, and you will be walking in the mud for 3 months out of the year, at least, if you don't put gravel down.
And you can lay concrete over that, right?
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know there's another guy right now building something, and he had it all graveled in as a base to put the concrete
This is called road-based gravel is what this is called. Now this is a little thinner than the standard road base, but I've learned a lot about gravel in the last 2 years. Well, I've got all kinds of it out here. I've got big gravel and medium gravel and
you can
gravel.
see there's 3 different kinds right here.
Yeah. So we have drains that we put in. If there's a flat spot on this ground, it's because we made it flat. There wasn't any flat spots when we got here, I can tell you. So it's been trying to get the water to run where you want it to run is a huge issue. It'll always run, but the question is where. So
Well, good thing about all the gravel is it runs underground basically,
Right.
and it doesn't make ruts
Right.
and other things, so makes it nice.
Oh yeah, you can. You know, it just takes time and money to make it work.
So I'm sure people are wondering why you have this giant trampoline in ground over here.
Well,
Maybe you could explain that to them too.
my wife started watching Homestead videos on YouTube a couple of years ago, and there was a guy up in Missouri, a man and his wife who has a homestead up there. And the way that they planted their garden is they got this material right here, which is a weave material. It'll allow water to go through it, and they burn holes in it. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but you burn holes in it, you plant your plants through it. You never have to weed. You never have any grass issues. You just, every year, you take it up, till it, and then turn it around exactly backwards. So you're not planting on the same ground that you were planting on before. We'll have corn over here in this corner this year, and then she's got other crops planted or planned for this. Then next year we will roll this stuff up, plow. I'll till the ground again. I have a tiller for this tractor. I'll till the ground again. Then we will turn it around, so the corn will end up being on this corner next year. So the stuff is good for several years, and it's a way to keep from having to weed and till and hoe and do all that kind of stuff. It was a fabulous idea. I'd never heard of it before. But this stuff is a kind of a plastic. But like I said, it's got a tight weave, but you have to burn it because it will fray if you don't burn it. So you take a torch and you burn a hole. We've about decided about a 3-inch hole is about the size we want. I might even build a little branding iron kind of a thing that'll cut holes. I haven't decided yet. We have welders and torches. All the stuff
You need to get an accessory that will do that for the tractor.
No. And once this is done, it's really done. Then we've got some more back there. We're going to plant watermelons and stuff back there. We didn't really include that as part of the garden because it's outside the fence. But we could get the tractor back there, so I tilled it up, and we've got the black stuff on it. So we're going to plant watermelons and squash and stuff back there. Hopefully the deer and possums and stuff will stay away from it.
And if they don't, next year there'll be a fence.
Yeah. Well, either that or I'll spend a lot of time out here with a shotgun at night.
Yeah.
One way or another. But and they're not usually after gourd type fruit. All of our regular stuff, peas and all that kind of stuff, will be up here in the gardens. So that's a little more dangerous for them to come up this far. It's not that they can't jump that fence; they certainly can. But
it's kind of a warning to them.
Yeah, so it would be a little more dangerous. And then I've got some lights that'll come on out here, solar lights that kick on whenever anything
Spook 'em.
walks through back here. So, and I'm going to put up more yet.
Scares me, and I'm fearless.
Yeah. Well, we keep this place lit up pretty good. But the LED lighting has allowed us to run lights at night that you normally wouldn't run. But the LED lighting is so energy efficient that it really costs almost nothing to run them. So the lights themselves cost quite a bit, but once you get them, you've paid the money, and then you run them. They're not free, but they're almost free.
Every light in my motorhomes
Yeah.
is
LED.
LED, and it was hard switching over
Yep.
because in the beginning, I have all those fluorescent lights, and they wanted $45 a tube.
Yep. Yep.
And I figured out how much that was going to cost, and it would be cheaper to buy a new motorhome with LEDs in it. So what I did is got those little stick-on ones and just deboned the fixtures, and then stuck these on there. And shoot, they've been in there for 5 years, and they just keep roaring, man.
Our whole house, the barn, everything here, and including my camper. My camper come with LED lights. It's only got one non-LED light in the whole camper. And it's down in the hole. If you want to turn on a light when you can see down in the hole.
Yeah.
But LEDs are the way to go as far as power consumption. I had an electrician explain it to me one time when I complained to him about how much the lights cost. Back when I was working, we were constructing restaurants, and I was complaining to him how much these fixtures cost. And he said, there's 8 of them. He said, if you have to change them because they're way up high, you're going to have to rent a man lift. He said, these LEDs are good for 50,000 hours. And he said, that's number one. He said number 2 is all 8 of them don't pull as much electricity as one 100-watt bulb. And his point was made. The LEDs, even with the fixture expense, are worth it. Of course, now they've got light bulbs. You can just screw in LED light bulbs in most of these fixtures. But it is absolutely the way to go, LED.
And for us RVers, it's battery life, so that we have plenty of energy to run them suckers for the heater. Those blower motors are the #1 user of electricity in an RV, man. They suck the batteries right down.
Ain't got no LED blower motor, I can tell you that.
Well, they need to come up with one.
Well, believe it or not, electric motors are more efficient than they used to be. But they still are nowhere near. They still suck a lot of electricity.
They do.
There's not very much that can be done about that with the current technology. But it's all changing. They're studying this stuff. And that might be the one plus of global warming. You got scientists studying this stuff to try to make more efficient stuff. We may actually get something good out of it before it's over with. As far as, I don't believe in global warming. I believe the globe warms, and I believe the globe cools.
And I believe it's the sun's fault.
Right. But nonetheless, because they've gone crazy on this stuff, we may actually get some more efficient motors, electric motors. I know that they've done way better on compressors. Compressors in refrigeration units are far more efficient than they used to be. Now, they don't last like the old ones did, but I've seen dramatic differences in new compressors and old compressors. So we could see some changes that would be to the advantage, to the best. Anyway, it's just a matter of time. You know, in 20 years, we'll all look back and think, how in the world did we live this way?
Well, I know when they first came out with LEDs, I was a little bit apprehensive because what happened is when I had my shop, my motorcycle shop, I had a guy come in and say, hey, these are the light bulbs for the Harleys, man. You need to switch everybody over to these bulbs.
Yeah.
So, man, I was just pounding them into guys' bikes, and a couple of weeks later, they started coming back, and hey, this doesn't work, and that doesn't work. And I ended up having to buy everybody all new light bulbs and get rid of all those LEDs because the very first ones were terrible. Yeah. But now, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But.
Well, there's a computer chip in all of them. If we have an EMP, your LED lights are not going to work. They're going to be burnt. But, I don't know.
That's why you keep your old bulbs.
You can't prepare for everything.
I have a bag of old bolts, bulbs.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's you know, but as far as cost savings, they are absolutely the bomb. I save a lot of money around here on electricity. I had a neighbor who commented about how many lights I had running, and I told him, I said, they probably use less electricity than your one porch light, and he couldn't believe it. I explained it to him. But we had LEDs put in the shop and everywhere. Basically everything's LED here. Just about every light is LED. So that's some of the use of technology. And this is too. This material right here, they didn't have anything like this a few years ago. They had landscape fabric, but it wasn't the same. It didn't allow water to pass through it. You have to have a fabric that water will pass through.
Yeah, the plants would die.
Yeah. And
can you double it like that? That won't affect it, huh? Where you have it laid over?
It's doubled in certain places where it laps over. But this old boy up in Missouri, they do great, and they have a much larger garden plot than this, much larger. Anyway, the stuff goes a long way. It's 6 foot wide, and we're gonna try it. We'll find out. But I don't see why it won't work. And anything that'll keep you from having to till and hoe a garden is a wonderful thing.
It seems like some kind of a border would be a nice thing to come up with too, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe like out of PVC or something.
Yeah, well, we put this down before the rain because we got it down in a hurry because we wanted to, it was dry enough to be able to roll it down, and then it rained on top of it, and it's not holding water anywhere. So it's worked out really good. I think we'll be able to burn our holes. The ground is moist underneath it, very moist, and
but you can see it's light, and when the wind gets, you got a little area right there where wind can get under and stuff.
There's staples that you put down to hold it down, but the ground has been tilled so often. I really tilled this ground that the ground won't hardly hold the staples. They're probably not long enough. but they're stainless steel staples, and you put it down. But I'm gonna tell you something. You get some plants growing up through it, and it ain't blowing nowhere, you know. So pretty soon we'll have it planted. In fact,
Just
that's
the
gotta be done
inter, you know, in
this
between
month.
now and then.
This month is when this gets planted. The raised beds have already been planted for the most part, first crop anyway. But we'll start with the corn, and we'll do the corner in the corn, and we'll do the corn, and then 2 weeks later we'll do some more corn, and then 2 weeks later we'll do some more corn. And the purpose of that is to
So you have corn.
won't have corn all the time. You know, we'll have it in sections so that we can have. Of course, Julie's going to preserve a lot of it. We're going to can it and freeze dry it and stuff like that. So, but you don't want it all to come due at the same time. It's too much work. So we're trying to plan this. Of course, this is a work in progress. We're learning as we go. We will undoubtedly we'll do things a little different next year. Hopefully, we can improve our methods and get a better crop and more of it.
Next year you'll have chicken litter.
Oh, we've got it already. We've already
Enough?
got this tilled in right here. We tilled in a bunch of chicken litter into this ground right here. This ground should grow really excellent. We've also put compost in it, and we have really, and I mean to tell you, I tilled this stuff many times with this tractor and the tiller. And
I watched you.
different directions. Well, that was just part of it.
Yeah.
I tilled it a bunch. Our neighbor has a bunch of trees with leaves on them. We had them piled 18 inches deep on this thing, and I tilled them all in. I tilled those leaves into the ground, and they rotted all winter long in the ground. So I really feel like that we're going to get a good crop out of it. And then next year we'll do the same thing in the winter time or in the fall when the leaves are due. That's the perfect time to pull this stuff up, put the leaves on it, till them in, and the chicken litter and all that kind of stuff. And then that gives it the winter to basically rot and become a really good soil.
And you're using non-GMO seeds, right?
Yes, we're using.
It's all natural
we
stuff.
are using the heirloom seeds. These seeds are seeds that you could actually dry the corn out, for instance, and plant it again. It's heirloom seeds. And we're very careful about that because we want what
Natural.
If you want hybrid, if you go with hybrid, which are fine, they make some great crops, but you can't. Only a small portion of the seeds will ever come up again if you dry it and make seeds. So we can theoretically, if we couldn't get any more seeds, we can theoretically take the plants that we have and grow them, dry them out, and use those seeds. So. We now have thousands and thousands of seeds of all varieties, and in the freezer they will last many years, except for corn, I'm told. But we have the means to put in a crop here, and I would say that in our case we don't have to have but maybe 6 months of food laid by, because should we not be able to get food within 6 months, we can grow a crop and have food. That's part of what the chickens are all about, is having the means to be self-sufficient if we have to.
Man, I thought Cage had an appetite. Them chickens, man, they go for it, man.
Oh yeah, them chickens are something, man. And we've got another bunch ordered to come in the fall that's going to go in that chicken house over there, and we've got it set up so that we can keep them separate. These chickens and the other chickens. The ones we have now are called Sussex, speckled Sussex. They're originally from England.
Say that real fast, like 3 times.
Yeah, the speckled Sussex. Anyway,
You could barely say it the first time, huh? It's
they have
hard.
a good disposition for the most part, and we don't have any trouble with them. What trouble we've had, we've cured it. They are the most curious animals you've ever seen in your life.
Cows are pretty curious, though. Yeah.
You
You'd
know,
be
you
surprised.
look at a chicken, you think, how stupid can you be to be a chicken? I'm telling you right now, these animals they will figure out a way to get out of a pen. I have often said that it is easier to cage a tiger than it is a chicken who wants out. So we've had to work on our pens, but we're going to get it fixed so that they're not constantly. They haven't been out now in a couple of weeks because I completed this part of the pen, but for a while we were scared to leave here because the chickens would get out and get in the gardens. So of course they'll eat anything
Oh,
in the gardens.
Before you did all you did over here, the chickens were always getting out. They were running out here all the time in the middle of the night, putting the chickens back in. So,
So,
and once one learns, it's like, hey, follow me, guys. So, it's pretty fun.
There's something.
Well, you know what, Kev? I don't know if you saw the weather report this week,
Looks
but
like we're starting to get bad weather.
on the end of the week, it goes all the way to the top of the scale and runs straight across at the top. And I'm waiting for tomorrow because then I'll get an extra day on there. I can see when it drops off. So I'm going to let you get back to work. I'm going to walk around and show a little more of the hacienda here. And we're going to try to get up in the air and show it from the sky.
Walk down into the storm shelter. We're pretty proud of that storm shelter.
It's not locked or nothing?
It's not locked. And we don't lock it. We don't have to. There's nothing down there. There's a light down there. But
see, I wouldn't put one of those in because when Darla would be mad at me, she'd be giving me a blanket and a pillow, so go sleep in there.
Sleep in the storm shelter.
I'd rather sleep in the chickens.
To sleep in, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, you get enough weather.
Little concrete ones. Another thing we considered around here was a root cellar. We seriously considered it, but decided to go with a freeze dryer instead. We looked at root cellars and how to build them and where to put them at and all that kind of stuff. And it's still possible that I'll dig us a root cellar eventually. But at this point right now, we just want to, with the freeze dryer, we can preserve everything that we have for longer than it would.
And you could take it with you if you decided to go somewhere for a couple of weeks and you got food to take with you. Where if you've got a root cellar, you got to maintain freezing and cold. And
so it's a work in progress, and we've still got more land that we can develop, and we'll continue on as long as I can stand it. But this is, like you said, I wouldn't doubt at all if this back fence came out. And over here, we own that property over there where the trees are. We could expand our whole chicken yard area, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that happen in a few years. But boy, let me tell you something. If you want to get yourself into some work, just start homesteading. By gosh. You're going to get yourself into all kinds of work, stuff you never even thought of.
I was watching this morning a thing about if you lived in 1800, the year 1800, and they showed the women making soap and how everything, there was a fireplace in the kitchen, and that's where everybody, in the wintertime, they spent a lot of time in the kitchen because it was freezing cold. They went to bed, they looked like they had the nightcaps and all that stuff. And anyway, they're talking about how the men would usually farm and then have a job because they needed to make money, but they would farm so they could feed their family. So we got it pretty easy.
There was a reason why people died at a young age in those days. There's a line in a country song that says he died a tired old man at 44.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. Men worked themselves to death, and so did women. How long they lived was definitely affected. Listen, you start hauling water from the creek a mile away to do washing and cooking and all that.
Well, they had
a
well.
Stuff.
They said they had a well.
Yeah. Well, you can have. In fact, I bought a well drilling operation. This ground I can get good water at 35 feet here. I know that because I've got neighbors around here that's got wells at 35 feet. So I'm going to drill deeper wells than that. But I'm putting in a couple of wells with the hand pumps on them. So if our water ever fails, we have city water here. But if our water ever fails, then I'll have a means of getting water. But you could literally dig a well with a shovel here.
Well, speaking of songs, there's a song that says, I'm way too young to feel this day I'm old, too.
Yeah.
All right, Kev. Hey, thanks for your time, man. I know you're a busy guy. I'd help him, but it slows him down. So I just stay out of his. We had a discussion. He said, just let me do it. I'm used to working by myself.
Well, I worked by myself all my life, and it's hard. It gets to be hard to work with someone.
Well, when I did motorcycles,
he has helped.
Nobody would let anybody else work on their bikes. They always wanted me to be the one that worked on them. So I know where you're at. It's kind of a little different situation, but I would have loved to have someone work on their bikes, but double my output, but didn't work that way.
Nope.
All right, Kev. Well, you have a good time, man. We'll see you later, I'm sure. So as you can see, he's got every kind of cool thing here. He's got that's the backhoe. All this stuff goes on the back of that tractor. Here's for drilling post holes. The bucket, because he has the forks on it right now. Tiller, lawnmower. He's got a bunch of other stuff, but I don't think these all work on his rig. I'm not sure. But anyway, as you can see, he can do a lot of stuff. And there's his trailer. And like we showed here, this is gravel. His grandson is in high school and about to graduate. And him and his little girlfriend are going to get married. And they purchased this mobile home here. They're going to restore it. And they're going to be living here. And this right here is Kevin's daughter's house and her husband. And this is their little business, a little orange building. They do laser where they cut out all kinds of cool stuff and do designs and everything. And then they also have a t-shirt where they do t-shirts. And there's more doggies. There's doggies everywhere. And here's the storm cellar right here. This is what Kevin really likes. He loves this thing. You can go down in there. Yeah, I'll go down a little ways here so you can see it. Ooh, I don't like steep stairs. But anyway, you kind of get an idea of what it's all about down here. There's a lantern right there. Come in and sit. But luckily, we haven't had to use it. There have been tornadoes in the area, but they haven't come over here. But that's one of the hazards of living in Arkansas. Don't have any problem. I mean, if we were going to flood, we would have flooded the other day, but we didn't. So, and this is what we're talking about as far as drainage. He dug trenches and he laid rock down in there. And I mean, this is probably 4 feet underground, this trench, and it goes all the way around, it goes over there, goes out that way. And all the water comes and gets into this thing and just goes out that way and over there. And he has this done in such a way we do get a little tiny bit of water, which, I mean, considering some of the places we've been, we do have a piece of plywood here. You can see the ground's a little moist. We get a little bit of moisture right here, but it tends to go out this way. You can see my used transmission fluid I got to get rid of. I changed the transmission. I thought my tranny was going out in my truck, and I had put a heavier transmission fluid in because of the towing it, and it uses ATF, and for some reason it just started to get harder and harder to shift when it was cold. So I decided, well, I better get rid of that and go back to the stock stuff. So stock stuff's in there and it's working better now. So anyway, continuation soon.